My guy best friend from childhood is in love with me and said I can't have both him and my current boyfriend, that I've led him on this entire time, and gave me an ultimatum that I need to pick him and our friendship of over 13 years or my current boyfriend. Posted by you/Princess No Hope. Throwaway, since my best friend is a Redditor. Sorry for the length. I, 18F, have known my best friend Kevin, 19M, since I was 5 years old. He is a great friend and a great guy. I've never felt anything but friendship toward him and, if anything, I consider him to be like a brother to me. I'm not attracted to him physically and have always treated him platonically. I have always kept the affection to a strictly friends level, occasional hugs and whatnot, nothing more, because I don't want to send him confusing signals. When we were in high school, Kevin asked me to be his girlfriend and confessed to always having feelings for me. I was 15 and he was 16. I explained that I only saw him as a friend and my feelings were not going to change. I have always been certain of this. After a period of awkwardness, he let it go, and we became close friends again, like nothing happened. He also asked me to his senior prom, but to avoid causing confusion, I said no, and he went with someone else instead. I have told him more than once that we are just friends, and I am not looking for anything more from him. I'm not a very emotional person and have very limited dating experience, but about 6 months ago I met a guy named Mark, 20M. I was instantly attracted to him. We discovered that we complement one another very well and started dating about a month after we met. Mark is my first serious boyfriend. He makes me very happy, and even though it's early in the relationship, I am excited to see where it leads. He is very warm and understanding. I had never really felt a spark toward a guy until I met Mark. I waited a little while to introduce Kevin to Mark because I was afraid of Kevin's reaction. Whenever I went on a date in high school, Kevin would get really jealous, so I stopped talking about guys with him altogether. But I wanted Kevin and Mark to meet because I want them both in my life, and I hoped if he saw me happy, Kevin would finally get over whatever feelings he had for me. I told Mark that Kevin has feelings for me, but I assured him that I did not feel the same way, and he trusted my word. We all went out together, Kevin, myself, Mark, and a couple of other friends, after Mark and I became official, and it was just as I feared. Kevin hated Mark from the first moment they met. Mark tried his hardest to be friendly and to engage Kevin in conversation, but Kevin was rude and standoffish the whole time. Even our other friends thought he was taking it too far. I had hoped he would at least give Mark a chance, since Mark was making an effort, but Kevin wasn't having it. Mark was upset, but I told him I would speak to Kevin about his behavior. I asked Kevin to try and be a little nicer to Mark, or at least meet him halfway, and Kevin promised to try. Kevin didn't really try. He continued to treat Mark like he didn't exist, and would only invite me to hang out, but not Mark. One night, about a week ago, a group of us were out bowling, and Mark overheard Kevin saying some very rude things about him to one of our other friends. Mark confronted him, and things got heated. No punches were thrown. I took Mark and we left shortly after. Mark apologized for making a scene, but I texted Kevin after we got home, and I told him that I didn't appreciate how he was treating my boyfriend. If he didn't stop, I wasn't going to hang out with him anymore. Kevin asked me to meet with him the next day, alone, so we could talk about it. I met him at a coffee place, and he basically told me that he couldn't believe I was picking Mark over him. He ranted about how he'd always been there for me, how he's been by my side for years, waiting for me to feel the same way he does, and I basically stepped all over him for some random guy only known for half a year. He then told me what I've always suspected and dreaded: he's been in love with me for years and can't stand to see me with someone else. I calmly reiterated that I have only ever considered him a friend, and have told him that before, and he went off on a big tirade about how insensitive I am, parading my boyfriend around in front of him. He got really emotional and said that Mark will never understand me like he does, and I'm shallow and selfish for refusing to give him a chance to change my mind. And he accused me of leading him on all these years. I apologized to Kevin for leading him on. I really don't think I did, but if he felt that way, it was unintentional on my end, and told him that he would not be able to change my mind, because I'm with Mark, and even if I wasn't, that doesn't mean I would date him. He was pretty livid, and said that I can't have both him and Mark, and I would have to choose my friendship with him or my relationship with Mark. Then he stormed out of the coffee shop. It was the angriest I've ever seen him. Kevin was always a really sweet guy, but whenever Mark is around or mentioned, he just gets really mad. I've had a few days to think about this. I don't want to give up my relationship with Mark. The relationship is young, but I'm happy, and we exchanged the love word about a month ago. I haven't known him nearly as long as I've known Kevin, but my feelings for him are strong, and I don't want to give them up. I told Mark about Kevin's ultimatum, and he was angry about it. He said I shouldn't have to choose, and told me he thinks Kevin is being totally irrational. I hoped Kevin would cool down, but he hasn't texted me since we met up, except one message that said, "You make up your mind yet?" I've been friends with Kevin for 13 years, and I don't want to throw our friendship away. He's never acted this irrational before. However, I know if we stay friends, he might not be able to get over his feelings, and I don't want to give him any false hope about us ending up together someday. I also think he's being a total jerk butt about everything. I'm going to pick Mark. I don't have any qualms about it. I know I need to cut Kevin out of my life. Mark would never make me choose like this, and I don't even recognize Kevin anymore from the way he's acting. But what do I say to Kevin? I'm worried about him, and don't want to hurt him any more than I already have. I feel terrible about everything and hate that Mark got tied up in all this drama, because he didn't even do anything. Kevin was really angry when we met up to talk, and I don't even know if I should meet with him again in person, especially alone. How do I end a 13-year friendship? Any advice? /relevant comments. Commenter. Kevin sounds like a textbook nice guy. I know you don't want to lose him, but he's not your friend. He believes he is entitled to you romantically because he has been nice to you. This is not a good friend to have. Ops response. I've heard of nice guys but never really thought of Kevin as one before now. Again, this is the first time he's overtly acted like this. But thanks for giving me this perspective, it really helps. Commenter 2. Has Kevin ever had a girlfriend, or has he just been holding out for you? Seems a bit creepy and childish, in my opinion. Ops response. He's never had a girlfriend. He's gone on dates before, though. Occasionally, he'll take a girl out once or twice, but it never amounts to anything. Commenter 3. I have been in the same situation as Kevin, hopelessly in love with my best friend while she dated someone else, and trust me, it hurts a lot seeing her with him. Even if she was happy, I just couldn't be happy for her, and I felt like crap because of that. The heart wants what the heart wants, I guess. Anyway, I know pretty well how Kevin feels, and I just want to say going no contact with him is the best option in this case. He will not stop trying to be your boyfriend. Even if he wanted to be just friends, those feelings won't disappear. If he apologizes for his behavior, still go no contact, at least for a while, not only for the sake of your new relationship but for his sake as well. He needs to let you go, and he won't do that if you keep talking to him every week. Otherwise, he will be miserable for a long time, and it looks like you don't want that. Most people here are telling you he isn't your friend, and I don't think that's the case. He is just inexperienced with the feelings of love in general. One day in the future, perhaps you can contact him again and try to build a friendship from the start, but right now it looks like he needs time away from you, even if he doesn't realize it himself. Ops response. Thank you, it's helpful to have perspective from someone who has been in this situation on the other end. I am definitely going no contact, for his sake. Opt to a downloaded commenter. Mark isn't pissed at me, he's pissed about the situation in general. I told him about Kevin's feelings for me right at the beginning. At that point, I didn't know how intense Kevin's feelings were, or even if he still had them, since I'd already turned him down years ago. Perhaps I wasn't clear on that, for which I apologize. But yes, I realize that I need to end the relationship with Kevin because it isn't fair to anyone, and I was stupidly idealistic for thinking they could get along. Edit. Mark also originally said he would make an effort to get along with Kevin, because Kevin was my best friend for 13 years. He never asked me to cut ties with Kevin, even though that is what I am going to do. Update 9 days later. Wow, I did not expect so much feedback on the post I made about a week and a half ago. Sorry if the formatting is screwed up. I knew the choice I was going to make before I made the post, but it was really gratifying, in a way, to see so many people support that decision and give some insight. I really appreciate it. So many of you were very helpful. Some things I did not go into detail about in the original post are my social life and friendships. I did mention I am not an emotional person, but what I probably should have said is that I don't easily form emotional attachments to people and have difficulty interacting with others. I don't want to go into details, but my parents played a big role in that. Kevin is the only consistent friend I've ever had. My social life has improved considerably over the past couple of years, and especially in the months since I've been dating Mark. I've learned to open up to people more, and I am much happier. But for a while, when I was younger, Kevin was all I had. That's why it was so hard to come to the decision to cut him from my life. Anyway, about 4 days after I made the post, I texted Kevin and told him to meet me at the same coffee place we met at before so we could talk. I was scared to meet with him alone, so I brought Mark. It might not have been the best move, and several comments told me it was better to call or text or email. But I wanted to speak to him firmly, face to face, so he could see how serious I was, and Mark wanted to be there in case Kevin got angry with me. He sat in a corner with a book and monitored the situation from a distance, so he could step in if necessary. Prior to our meeting, I let several of our mutual friends know of the situation. Most of them were very understanding. Some were already aware because Kevin had spoken to them. I gave them my side of things, so they at least could understand where both of us were coming from. I didn't ask them to choose sides, I just wanted both sides to be out there. I have received a significant amount of support from them, though a couple of them seem to think I'm being a BTCH, but whatever, I've been called worse. Many of my friends really like Mark and have become his friends too, so I am glad that they are being understanding about this, for the most part. When Kevin and I met up, I said just what a lot of you recommended. I told him that I was not the one who was ending this friendship, he was ending it by making me choose between him and being in a relationship with Mark. I told him a real friend wouldn't do that to me, and if he really cared about me, he would be happy that I am in a relationship with someone I really care about. He said that a good friend wouldn't ignore his feelings like I have and wouldn't lead him on. I told him that he's been ignoring my feelings as well, and reminded him that I told him early on that I did not have feelings for him. It was a lot of back and forth, and I reiterated to Kevin that even if I were not with Mark, I wasn't going to date him. I then said that we needed space apart to reevaluate things, because being around one another was not good for either of us, and told him that I hoped he would find his own happiness. Kevin didn't really respond well, he made a minor scene and stormed out of the coffee shop. He also called me some very not nice names, which only reaffirmed that I made the right decision to cut him out of my life. This happened pretty quickly, and Kevin left before Mark could intervene. Mark and I left the shop soon after, and I haven't heard from Kevin since, though he has been telling some of our mutual friends how terrible I am and what a bad friend I've been, so there's that. I do not intend to contact him and will not be attending any of the same social events that he is. I have also blocked him on social media for the time being. I am very sad to lose my friendship with Kevin. If he is able to sort out his feelings, then I have hope we can reconnect in the future. But I do not think that will happen anytime soon, and will be moving on with my life, and will continue on in my relationship with Mark. I have also apologized to Mark for the whole situation, and he's been great through it all. I'm really very lucky to have him. I have told him I will work on communicating better with him. Anyway, Mark recently had a non-emergency issue with his family back home and asked me to go with him to visit his family and deal with the situation. I didn't want to intrude, but he said he will feel better having me there with him to support him. We will be gone for a couple of months, out of the country, as his family lives in Europe. We leave this weekend, and, though it's not an ideal situation, I am glad that there will be an entire ocean between Kevin and me, so hopefully he can start sorting out his issues. Thank you again for all of your help. I might update again, if anything changes. /relevant comments. Commenter. I'm a former nice guy. I've been in similar situations as this. You absolutely did the right thing. It took many years of these things happening, many years of introspection, and of all things, Reddit, to open my eyes. I realized that I was doing exactly what Kevin was doing, and that I was the jerk. I wasn't considering the other person's feelings. I realized that I was only being nice to them to get what I wanted, not because I wanted to be nice. It took me years to figure out how relationships and attraction actually work. The good news is that I have since met someone whom I eventually married, and that we're happy. Once I sorted out my issues, which lasted well into my relationship with her, I finally felt like a whole person. I was able to later see some of those girls I nice guyed and apologize for my behavior and actually have adult, platonic friendships with them. So, there's hope for Kevin yet. He might continue his crappy behavior. He'll probably badmouth you for years, but hopefully he'll grow up and apologize, and you guys can be friends again. Ops response. I'm open to being friends again, and hope he will realize how he's been acting, but it's definitely going to be a long while. I should hope he will apologize someday, but if he doesn't, then that just proves I made the right choice, I suppose. Downloaded commenter 2. You did the right thing in picking your boyfriend over your friend. However, you have to realize the role you played in it as well. You are young and seem to not have that many experiences dealing with these things, so it is very understandable. In the future, you really shouldn't be friends with a guy once he has confessed his feelings for you. You are giving him hope that things will turn around, and you will start dating him. It's stupid for the friend, but he isn't thinking clearly since he has strong emotions tied up in you. He just wants the chance, and by being his friend and not dating anyone else, you are giving him hope. Many girls and guys have to learn this lesson. Don't be friends with people who have confessed feelings. It's just not a good situation for either of you. Your friend was being immature, but so were you. If you want to avoid this in the future, just be aware of it, and don't fool yourself that you can just be friends. Ops response. 3 years ago Kevin told me he had feelings for me, and I said, I will never like you as anything more than a friend, Kevin. If you can accept that, I hope we can remain friends. He said, after a bit of an awkward period, okay, I accept that. We can still be friends. It's easy to realize these things in hindsight. We were teenagers. We still are teenagers. It was a mistake. I said that several times in my original post. I get it. I'm plenty jaded and cynical now that this has happened. I'm fully aware that I had a role in this. I, however, don't think it was immature to think that a 13-year friendship could survive this. Naive, yes. But I always made my intentions toward him clear. I don't think it gets much clearer than, I will never see you as anything more than a friend, Kevin. I pretty much told him I would never date him. I gave him an out, if he didn't want to be friends, and he didn't take it. Also, I did date other guys in high school, just never had a serious relationship until Mark. Second update 2 months later. After my first update, I got a lot of supportive comments, which I greatly appreciate. I also got a few nasty PMs calling me some pretty colorful names. Fortunately, I've seen every episode of Game of Thrones, so I am desensitized to profane language and insults. On the other hand, the nice messages were lovely to read, and I am grateful for the feedback. I'm sorry that I didn't reply to most, but it's been a busy couple of months. Someone also linked my original post and the first update to a different subreddit. I checked it out after someone mentioned it in the comments, or a PM, and I was surprised to see my post there. But it did offer me some insight to look through the comments there, as well as the comments on my posts here. After my last post, Mark and I went to Germany and stayed there from June until the last week of July. Once his family issues were resolved, we spent a lot of time together, and I got to know his family. They were very welcoming, which was a huge relief, as I tend to come off a little cold when meeting people. We got along well, and it was a very enjoyable trip. His parents want us to come back for the holidays, so that's now in our plans. Mark and I have been together less than a year, but the trip strengthened our relationship and reaffirmed that I want to be with him. While I was away, I had almost no contact with friends from home, other than occasional messages. I had no contact whatsoever with Kevin. I didn't ask any of our friends about him, and they didn't tell me anything. Even after I returned home, I did not inquire after him or communicate with him in any way, and most of my friends knew not to bring him up, and I assumed they did the same with Kevin in regards to me. If I knew he would be at a social gathering, I did not attend. I've been planning to move to a new city, for education/career purposes, since last year, and I've been scoping out places to live and employment opportunities for a while now. With help from a few friends I have in the area, those plans have come into fruition. Mark and I have discussed it extensively, and he decided to make the move with me. His whole family is in Germany, and he doesn't have any strong connections to our current city. We've lined up an apartment together. Mark has a couple of interviews, I have my ducks in a row, and we will be moving in about a week. I'm so excited to begin this new chapter of my life with Mark, and I am confident in the future for both of us as individuals and together. This past weekend, a few of our friends threw a goodbye party for me and Mark at one of our favorite local hangouts. Though many of them were aware of the whole Kevin fiasco, he was invited to the event without my knowledge. I nearly panicked when he walked in the door. He asked me if we could talk. He seemed very calm, so I consented. We stayed in the party area because I didn't want to be alone with him. Well, Reddit, he apologized for everything he said, for badmouthing me to our mutual friends, for the ultimatum, for being a total jerk to Mark, and for not listening to me when I rejected him the first time. He said that going no contact was the best thing for him, because it helped him put everything in perspective. Then he said, and I'm not even kidding, I didn't realize I was being a nice guy. I forgave him, no waterworks or fanfare. I also apologized to him for possibly giving him mixed signals, as it was never my intention, and he said that after he had time to think about it, he realized that he had been ignoring my feelings and he should have respected my wishes in the first place. And we both agreed that our friendship could survive, but we would never be best friends again. We are going to be friendly, but he's going to be a few hundred miles away now, which is good for everyone involved. Kevin told me that he is doing well, and has even gone on a couple of dates since our big falling out. He seems really hopeful about things, and I am happy for him. I do think he has moved on from nice guydom. I stole that from someone in the first update, and onto a better mindset. And I'm sure he will be very happy in the future once he finds the right girl. He wasn't always the too intense male personification of Taylor Swift's You Belong With Me song. When we were done talking, Kevin spoke to Mark. I don't know the details of that conversation, but they shook hands, and Mark told me that Kevin apologized to him. They'll never be brothers or anything, but as long as neither tries to kill the other when they're in the same room, I consider it a victory. Some of my mutual friends have also apologized to me for calling me names during this whole situation and listening to Kevin's badmouthing. I'm pretty much over it, no point holding grudges now when Mark and I are moving on to a new chapter in our lives, and Kevin is starting his own. A lot of posters commented that I am lucky to have a guy like Mark. He's dealt with everything very well, and I couldn't ask for a more supportive boyfriend. And I mentioned it last time, but yes, I have apologized to Mark for unintentionally dragging him into this drama. He said that he is just glad it has been resolved, and he appreciates that I told him everything from the get-go. I hope no one has to deal with a Kevin in the same way I did, but if anyone else out there does have a situation like this, I hope your Kevin or Kevinette comes around and the situation is resolved. For those of you who sent me hateful messages, I cannot imagine how cumbersome it is to carry so much spite and vitriol for someone you've never met. I hope you someday learn to channel your bitterness in more effective ways, and can find a more productive outlet for your anger, apart from anonymously cussing out teenage girls on the internet. Thank you all for your advice and insight over my last 2 posts. I am very grateful. /relevant comments. Commenter. Bloody hell. You couldn't pay me enough to be 18 again. Commenter 2. Damn, that sentence about the haters sending you nasty PMs and your response was perfect. Some people are just, deep down, angry about their standing in life, and unfortunately, it causes them to miss the bigger picture about what is going right for them in life. Ops response. They didn't specify, really, it was mostly just bad names and how terrible I am, and the myriad of bad things they hope happen to me. I don't really take it to heart, I just don't understand why people have to be so nasty in the first place. Up to another commenter. Well, one highlight was you're a stupid little C&T. That should give you an idea. No valid criticism or anything. I think some people just enjoy being jerks for no reason.